Yes, hello. I want us to go through the process of making a light emitting diode sign. A light emitting diode sign, LED, looks like this one here. This sign written signs for sale, and then there is a number here. And so, to make a light emitting diode sign, you need several things. And one of the things that you will require is a board like this one here. This board is where we will mount our lights. These are the diode lights which we will mount on this board. Then on them we will make circuits for the electricity to go through, so that it supplies the lights or the bulbs, these ones here, which are the LED bulbs, with electricity for them to be able to light. So we'll need a board like this one, make some holes in it like this, and then from the holes is where you will mount your bulbs, or the light emitting bulbs like these ones here. And then you will give them electricity by using these cables, this jumper wire, and of course with the jumper wire you will need a cable from the electricity, connecting to the electricity or to the switch, which is this one, which brings light to the sign. Through this the bridge, and then we also have the chaser, which makes the lights to kind of blink. In addition to the materials we will require is this 1x1 timber, which is used to make borderies. We will also require this material here, the trunking tool, the cable, a hammer for making or for driving the taps or the nails in, an adapter. We have the tape for taking measurements depending on customer's specification for the sign that is required. There is the source of light, the source of electricity, which is this extension cable from the main switch. The hacksaw for cutting the piece of wood to require size when you are doing the mounting. This is a glue gun. We will use it when fixing the cables, so that they are not moving, so that they don't move when inside the signboard, like this cable here, which is used to bring electricity here, and also for mounting the resistors, like this one here, mounting the chaser, and mounting the bridge, which is this one here, mounting the bridge so that it doesn't move when inside the sign. This one is a soldering iron. This one is used to solder. It's used to solder the lights. You can see where we have connected the lights. Sometimes you will have some loose connections to the lights or to the resistors, like this one here, or when making a chaser, or when making a bridge, which is this transformer here. So you need this soldering wire, which you heat it with the soldering iron in order to be able to solder the small bulbs here, like this one, the L.E.D bulb. We have this one, which is a tape used to cover wires which are exposed, especially on connecting them together, like this one here. Because it is short, I need to extend it using this cable here, so that it becomes longer to be able to reach where I have the source of electricity or power. Then over here, we have this one here. It is a PCB board used to make the chaser. With this one here, a kind of a resistor used to control power. Then this one for cutting some wires, like this jumper wire, when I want to trim it to become small, like this one. Then you have these ones. They are resistors, especially used to control power passing from some number of lights to connect to some others. These are the bulbs. They come with different colors. This is red. You can see I've used this container to make sure that this one carries the red bulbs, L.E.D bulbs. This one green. This one I use it to hold hooks and the tags. These are hook used to display my item when it is complete. These are the tags for covering, especially when I'm making the borderings. White L.E.D bulbs. Pink, although this one I've used it to hold RGB bulbs. RGB bulbs and some resistors which are used when creating a chaser. My toolbox, but this one now carries the drill, the cable to the drill with its adapter, and then I have my drills inside here. These are drill holders. The drill is the one which is used to make holes, these holes which are used to hold our bulbs or the L.E.D bulbs, so that they can stand like this, like what we can see from here. And so, to begin with, I'll demonstrate about drilling. So, it is always important to know in advance what you want to come up with. If, for example, it is an L.E.D sign like this one that you want to make written signs for sale, it is always important to have this in mind. It could also be a customer requiring a sign written something like the name of his business, or a customer requiring that you write the name of something like a label of a toilet, a label of a bathroom, a label showing where maybe the meeting will be or where the meeting is held, a label of a business name, a label of business transaction taking place in a certain place. Like, for example, if the customer deals with the mobile banking, so it is always important to have that in mind. Reason being, whatever that needs to be made is what you will need first of all to design, come up with a sticker, written the design of what you want to make. If it is a label showing the direction of a place, maybe a hall, maybe a washroom, maybe a bathroom, maybe it's about business, maybe mobile banking business. So it is important you know what you want to make. And then when you know that, you get to your machine or you get to your drawing board, come up with the art that you want to display. If, for example, you are using a pencil or a pen to write it, then you'll draw it on this board to give you direction of what you want to come up with. Alternatively, you could design it in your computer, make a printout of the label. Maybe the label is this one here, and then print it on a sticker, kind of a banner, a sticker like this one. Then after you print it, you will remove the sticker like this, then have your board, and then stick on the board like this. Make it stick on your board like this. Then when it sticks like this, if this is where you want your LED lights to be, or the LED bulbs to be, then this is where you will come to drill. Remember, we are at a stage of drilling or making the holes which will be used to hold your bulbs. And at the end of the day, what we want to come up with, I'm assuming, is something like this. This is what I used to demonstrate what we'll need to come up with. You can see, like here, I have my finished item, written signs for sale. These are my LED bulbs mounted, and my item is ready. Of course, all this architecture is inside it. All this electrical work has been done. The architecture of drawing it has been done. The mathematical calculations about the bulbs which will be used is already here. And so, assuming that this is what I am coming up with in this my initial item here, I intend to come up with a sign which works like this. If I will put it on electricity for you to see, I need to come up with a sign that when in electricity it shows like this, or when you connect it to power, this is what it shows, signs for sale. And you can see in my case here, I have my LED bulbs of different colors. Like for example, signs is written with pink, or has pink LED lights, while sale and the contact number or the phone number is in green. The lights playing up here are of white, clear white, and red. And you can see they are forming my boundary. They are forming my boundary, and they are like playing. They are like blinking. It's blinking because, just like I mentioned before, I have made use of something we call a chaser. This one here, this technical item here, the chaser. Of course, there is the bridge which forms the transformer, and then I have the resistors, in which the resistors are used to reduce light that is getting into my bulbs. Like you can see, this is the architecture at the back, which you will expect me to have once I'm finished with my item here. Of course, this side you will have the finished item, this side you will have the architecture or the electrical connections that makes my sign. And so that now I have my sticker here done, assuming this is the sticker having my artwork. Then the next activity that I need to have, because I need to mount my lights here, is to drill so that I get holes like these ones here where I will mount my lights. And again, just like I have said here, in your initial plan, you need to know what kind of lights you want to use, what kind or what type of lights you need to make use of. Maybe you need for color pink, maybe you need for color gray, maybe you need for color maybe color red, or depending on the customer's need. And sometimes, like you can see, these lights I'm having here, they are RGB. With RGB lights, like you've seen over here in my boundary, that it is blinking because I've made use of a chaser. with the RGB lights, these ones here, you will not make use of a chaser, but they will be blinking on their own. They are meant to blink or to play on their own without using a chaser. Anyway, just to come back to my subtopic here, or substrate, like they will use the term in the new system of education, the strand. My subtopic is about drilling, and drilling is about making this holes where I will mount my light, LED bulbs. And so this is my drill. This is my drill here, and the drill, with the drill, you can see I have this the drills here. You need to choose, because I have so many types and sizes of drills, like you can see over here. They are of different sizes because you might need different hole types or sizes. For me, I just want a hole whereby I will, or that will accommodate this pin, this pin here for my LED light. Just this one here for positive and this one here for negative. And you can see it is very small, so I just need a small hole, in which after making the hole, then I will be able to just insert my bulb like this. So anyway, now that I have many drills and I just need a small hole for the pin of my LED light, then I'll choose from my toolbox here, I'll choose the size of drill, that is okay for making my hole. All these are just drill sizes and holders that you can make use of. And so in my case, I've made use of this one. By the way, this is how you fix it. You just loosen this one here. You can remove the drill like this, even from the holder, or if you want it in the holder, you just insert it like that, because this is the holder that accommodates this size of drill. Then you can fasten it. I will fasten it like this. Then when I fasten it, because I'm ready to drill, and I'm drilling on my sticker where I have my artwork in which I want to put the lights, then I'll get my adapter for the drill, this one here, my adapter for the drill. I can directly put it into my electricity or power here, like this. I connect it to my extension cable, then I connect the drill. You can see I have a switch for my drill, then I can put it on, then I start drilling where I want to put my lights. And I know that the distance between the pin of my drills is just very small, just around 1 millimeter. So I don't need to make holes which are very far apart. So I can start my drilling. I want to be comfortable when drilling, and so I can start off. So I'm drilling. So I'm drilling or making holes to my board so that I can mount my light. When I'm done with the drilling, then I can have my drill off. And when I have it off, it's good to disconnect it from power, just to avoid it getting lots of power and then it burns out. So I have this one here. These are my LED lights, and I can start fixing them. Of course, I have some holes which I had made earlier. I can also fix where I have drilled like this. And just like in my example, where I have the sticker, then I can now start arranging my bulbs here, or my LED lights. When you put in these LED bulbs, it's advisable that you connect them from negative to positive. To know the negative and the positive of this LED bulb, this small bulb here, you can see one of the pins is longer than the other. The shorter one is negative, the longer one is positive. If you, for a trained eye, if you have a close look at this bulb, you'll find that one of the sides of the bulb is a little bit pressed down, so that it forms a kind of a depression, a small depression. That one also shows that that is the negative side. It is a little bit pressed to show the negative side, and the other one is kind of an oval or roundish, forming the positive side. So when you arrange them, it's also always good you arrange from negative to positive. Or alternatively, it's not a must that you arrange them in that order. You can still arrange them from positive going to negative, so long as you know the procedure that you followed, so that when you start connecting your cables for the lights to connect from one grouping to another, you know the procedure to follow. After you are through with connecting all your bulbs, assuming that now I was arranging them here like I have demonstrated. When you are through, you come to this other side of the board, and then you make this one bend on this direction, then this other one you connect your negative with the positive like this, and then you join them together and rotate so that you make sure that they are tightly joined. And you do that for all the bulbs that you want, and following a sequence, the sequence that they follow one another. Because if you make a mistake and join them, like for example positive to positive, and then the others are connected maybe from negative to positive, then those bulbs will not light at any time. They will not light. Actually, in most cases, the fuse will just burn out and get destroyed. So you have to be very sure, and you have to be very keen to know if you started with your negative going to positive, then the rest will follow that procedure. Because from, like, if I use this example here, if I started with an S here and I started with the negative, then it should follow the positive. I mean the negative pin followed with the positive, negative, positive, like that, and then I join them together here so that they forms an S. The next one is letter I. So with this letter I, you know, the S and I at one time they will connect together. The same with the letter G, the same with the letter N, the same with the letter S here. And that's why, as you can see from here, that's why we are having these jumper cables. This jumper cable connects one letter to the other, because the distance between them cannot just be connected using the pins of the LED bulb. So I have one letter connected together through the pins. Then from one letter to another, I use these jumper cables to be able to connect maybe one grouping of the letters to the other, or one grouping of my artwork to the other one, like that. So that is the importance of this jumper cable here. And for the jumper cable, for you to make use of it, because you can see it is insulated, what you do, this is my jumper cable here. What you do, when you have your jumper cable here and you are connecting some maybe one letter or one artwork simple to the other, you will have to make sure that a little bit or a small size of it is exposed like this one. It is not insulated, and this is where you will use to tie or to connect one grouping of letters or artwork to the next or to the other one, like this. And we'll make sure that the cables connect well, because if you don't connect them well, then the fuses will get burned out. You can connect this one from one letter to the other, like this. Now, I have connected this grouping of bulbs of this letter from here to this one here. Now, when I'm through with connecting all the letters here, because my jumper cable could be or could loosen at some point when I'm through with my signboard, like this one here, to make sure that I don't have such a scenario, what I'll do, I'll now make use of my soldering wire. I have my soldering iron, and because I know I'll use it at some point and I need it hot to be able to burn my soldering wire, I can put it on electricity early enough. So it's good to place it on a bare floor, or you have something to hold it up like this, that it doesn't burn your items on the table. So I have my soldering wire here. This soldering wire is the one which is used to make sure that, like for example, my jumper cable here is tightly held at the bulb which connects one grouping of the letter, LED bulbs for one letter to the other. Or maybe if it is a connection from a resistor to one resistor to another or to the other, then I'll make sure that after just tying the jumper cable to the resistor, I make sure that it is tight enough by to ensure that my soldering iron is hot. Then I have my soldering wire. Of course, I've connected it to the electricity, so it is very hot. You touch it like this one, actually you can get it. So I'll now come and solder my jumper wire to the resistor like this. Or if it's also a connection of one LED or a group of letters connecting from one LED to another, I make sure that it is soldered to connect or to make sure that some parts of a metallic material is tied together. You can just connect it by maybe joining two wires and then rotating them. And to just be very sure that it is tight enough, you can solder, or you can connect it by soldering, because this is like connecting, just this is metallic, kind of an aluminium metal. So you'll solder it to another or to the other piece of LED bulb like this, and then when it solders, you can be sure that that connection is firm enough. It cannot allow electricity not to pass through there. It cannot disconnect after some time. Maybe when you've put your sign in one place for a longer time, or maybe when the sign has been tampered with by movement, or maybe by some wind or by some shaking of any kind. So that's the reason why it is advisable that you solder them, so that you make sure that no disconnection will happen later. If a disconnection happens later and you can see that this finished item here, let me remove my soldering iron and put it away. You can see after finishing this side, it's very much closed like this, that you cannot access inside here, and then you happen to have just one LED bulb loosening, then it will take you back a lot, or it will make you feel frustrated, because to access here you will have to open a lot of things here, and on opening you might have even your trunking here, which forms the boundary, getting destroyed. That's going to a loss. So I've demonstrated about drilling that is making this hose, which you do make on your artwork like this one, or on the letter side that you have where you want your light to run. I've also demonstrated about soldering, about placing or inserting the LED bulbs. I've also demonstrated on how to make them get together or get formed together, because after just inserting it like this, just like this, it doesn't make it firm enough. Neither does it have any connection to the other. Doesn't have any connection to the other. So you have to make sure that they connect to one another. And then, just a reminder, I said on connecting them, you make sure that you started with the positive, you make it bend like this. Then to connect one LED to another, you have to rotate them together like this, so that they connect like this, just to form that architecture here, or that electricity connection. And then something to note is that when you are making your sign, it is good to plan early in advance to know the kind of lights that you want to use, maybe according to customer's description or according to whatever kind of a sign that you want to come up with. And that's why by lighting this, my finished item here, I said if you look well, you will see that the lights the lights or the bulbs with the word sign, they are purple, while these other ones down here are green. These are purple, these are green. The ones playing or blinking, you have white, you have red, you have white, clear white, and red. Yeah. So you have to plan early in advance. You don't just wake up, start drilling, insert bulbs without any order, mixed up. You'll have something that is not orderly, that doesn't show some order, and you might look like, or it might look like an amateur, or done by somebody who doesn't understand well or plan well on what you wanted to come up with. So this is my finished item that I want you to be referring to, or that I want us to be referring to. Now, the next subtopic, the next substrand here, the next substrand, or the next subtopic here, substrand is a new terminology for those with the CBC or learning the CBC system. For the older system, 844, we mostly used to refer to it as a subtopic, topic, subtopic, strand, substrand, CBC, all that. So after now, I've put my bulbs like this, and assuming that I have finished making my sign or my signage, I'm finished with making my signage like this, I need to connect electricity to it or some power so that it lights. And for you to connect some power, you can't just directly connect power to these bulbs here. And by the way, when you are connecting them, there is something about resistors here. You need to use the resistors. These bulbs carry very little electricity, if anything. They can't carry full 240 watts. Or that kind of a high voltage. So these resistors are used to reduce the light, or rather the amount of electricity from some group of bulbs to another. And mostly, or technically, we group the bulbs. We make sure that the bulbs in one grouping to the other, you make sure that they are in the range of around 50 to 58. Make sure that it's a grouping of around 58 or so, not less than that. If you make them less, they'll have a lot of light and it will be very bright, and in a short while it will just burn out. The fuse will just burn out. If you make them many, then the light will be dim, and that signage will not be bright enough for people to see, or for the intended purpose. If you have a look at this, my finished item, which I'm using mostly to refer to, you will see the cell here, SAL, is a little bit dim, E is bright, the contact here is very bright, and then the sign, the one signs for, is bright. It's just bright enough for you to see. It's because of that balancing of lights, grouping of lights or grouping of bulbs from one artwork, or from grouping of letters, one grouping of letters to the other. So you have also to plan that early enough to make sure that the signage you are making will come up with a grouping of lights that are enough to get electricity, or to be able to accommodate power. And to reduce that power is whereby you will use these resistors here. This is a resistor, 4.7K resistor. You also have 6.7K, and mostly which comes up when you are using RGB lights like this one here. So for you to get electricity inside here, or power, you will not just put it direct. You can't just put it direct. Remember that the 240 watts is too much for this kind of bulbs. It's just too much. So that's the reason we are using a lot of resistors. And for the same reason is where we'll come up now with the next subtopic about making a bridge. Making a bridge, or a kind of a transformer, which is used to step down power that is getting into our sideboard or to our signage here. We'll come up with a bridge or a transformer, which is the place, or it is the item, this one here, the bridge, which is the item which is used to step down light, or as an entry point for our light, for our power. It is also the entry point, or the connection where we connect our chaser, which we will discuss later. So we prepare for the next subtopic about making a transformer or our bridge. So now, we want to make, or we are now at the subtopic of making a transformer or a bridge which connects, or which is the pathway for power from the main switch to our signage. And for power, this is our power. This is a sample power cable here. Sample power cable, this one here. And so it's just a power cable like this one here, which is lighting that signage there. And for you to be able to pass that power from the main switch to your signage, you will need a bridge. You can't just connect directly power to the signage, otherwise all the lights will blow out because of the current, much current. It can't carry that that voltage, a high voltage. That's why we are using all these resistors here, as we've discussed. That's the reason why we are using the resistors, to be able to control the amount of light getting from one grouping of LED bulbs to the other. Anyway, so this is my power cable, just like this one here. And so to do that, to be able to have power from the main switch to the signage, you will need a bridge. And now to make a bridge, you will need these items, the diodes, four of them. And by the way, like these resistors here, this resistor here doesn't have a negative or a positive pole. They are just like that, doesn't have negative or a positive, but it is connected to the positive side of your LED bulb, the LED bulbs which we've mounted here. Yeah. So for us to create a bridge, we need these diodes, these ones here, the black ones, small ones. These diodes, they have negative and positive poles. To know the negative and the positive, for a trained eye, if you look closely on it, there is one end which is has some silver kind of a lining, silver lining. The silver lining shows the positive side, while the other side, which is just black, like the almost the whole of the other part of this area here, which is black, it is negative. And for you to create a bridge, you will need to connect the positive, this positive, and the positive of this diode, like this. Positive and the positive side of the diode, like this. Put it aside, then connect the negative and the negative side of this other diode, like this. You need 4 of them to be precise, like this. And make sure that you connect them together. And remember, by connecting this, it is for continuity of electricity. We are trying to come up with an electrical circuit that can have power pass through it. Yeah? We are creating a bridge. Okay? And once we connect them like this, just to make sure that it is firm enough and will not disappoint in the future, is the reason why we have our soldering bar here, or the soldering iron, which works together with the soldering wire, this one here, to be able to solder it here, or to put it here, so that you are sure that that connection is firm enough and will not disappoint once you have your whole signage working, and maybe at the customer side, or where you wanted it placed. Anyway, so after connecting positive and positive side of our diode and negative side of our diode, then we come again and connect positive and the negative side of the diode, of the two connected diodes, like this. Positive and negative, and then positive and negative again, to form this shape here, to form this shape. When you have that shape of these 4 diodes like this, put it aside. Take this item which is used to step down our power, and this other diode which is blue in color. Don't mind about the negative and positive side, but come here and connect the 2 ends of these 2 items like this. Just connect them. Make sure that they are connected like this, connected together like this. Once they are connected, now you have 2, I don't know whether to call them elements, like this. And then I'm trying to come up with this bridge here, or my transformer. I'm trying to come up with my transformer. So after doing that, what you do, once you have these 2 items like this, then you will get the negative and the positive sides, which we've connected together like this, and then connect it to my the negative and positive side of the diodes, which are connected together. Tie it together with this other item which I've just made, and you come up with this electric kind of a circuit item like this. And you can see it is a little bit loose. The 2 wires are hard for me to just rotate them together, or tie them together. And so, to make sure that it is not loose, to avoid any benefit of doubt, and to make sure that once you connect to electricity, it will just be firm enough and lighting well, just as intended, like you can see in my sign there, then it is important that you make sure that you remember to solder them together. Get your soldering wire, get your soldering iron, or the soldering bar, connect it to electricity, give it enough time to heat, or to get the required heat, or to heat enough, so that once you place it on my soldering wire like this, it melts down, and by melting down, it makes these two ends here connect together. Yeah. So once you are through with doing that, you have your bridge ready. You have your bridge ready. With your bridge ready, remember this item, the second item I made here, connects the positive and negative sides of my diodes. Yeah. And then, so in essence, we have the positive and the positive and negative sides connecting to this other item here, which is used to step down our power. And then we have now our positive side, and the negative side. Yeah. And the negative side. So what will happen is this. Remember, when we were connecting our bulbs, or our LED bulbs, we had the negative and the positive sides. Yeah. And for these lights, or rather for these LED bulbs, to light, they need electricity, and they get electricity from the transformer. Our transformer, this we've made here, is the main source of all power that is circulating in our signage. Yeah. So once we So once we mount it on our board, this is our board, our keyboard here, like this. Yeah, like this. We will need to have it firm here. Yeah, we need to have it firm here. And you see, this is metallic. This item is metallic here. This is a board made of wood. There is no way you will use a soldering wire, or you will solder them together. So what will you use to make sure that it is firm on our board here? It doesn't hang. See, these are metals having electricity on them. If they just hang over here, they can come into contact with our bulbs, the ends of the bulbs here. Look at our architecture here, or our electrical connection here. And once it may connect to, or it may just come together with our bulbs here, any part of the bulbs here, then the bulbs will blow out, and we'll have part of our signage not letting. So to make sure that it is firmly held here, what do? We make use of our soldering gun, or rather, not the soldering gun, it is our glue gun. This glue gun here, like a gun here. I have a glue here, just a small one remaining. And to make sure that it burns out, and you can have it here so that you can make use of it here, we will also connect it to electricity, or to power like this. We'll connect it to power like this, give it time to heat, and once it heats up, I'll show you what happens. We'll just give it time to make sure that it burns out, or it gets hot enough to be able to come out through here, just like a bullet. But now it is in liquid form, because this is a glue here. So that once we have that ready, we can be able to place our bridge or our transformer here, and solder it on our board, ready to pass electricity. And just as it gets ready, as our glue gun gets ready, because I've just connected it to electricity, as you've seen, as it gets ready, maybe we can have a close look just briefly on what happens for us to, or the use of our transformer here. So once we have our transformer connected here, the negative, we have our cable from the main power, this one here. Yeah. So the negative of our cable from power will connect to one side of our transformer, this one here, this side of our transformer, or the bridge. The other side of our cable, that is cable from power, it will connect to the negative, to the positive, to the area where our diodes connected with negative and positive sides, or negative and positive poles. This side of the cable here, this one connects to this item here, this side of this item here, which is used to step down power, and then this other one connects to the area, or to this side where we have our diodes connecting negative and positive side, this area here. And that is what we have from this example here. Our negative and positive side of our diodes is this one here. Then the other side of the power. So now, quickly, we have our glue gun already. The glue is already burned out. It is in liquid form, and we want now to mount our transformer. And this is how we mount it. We just slowly put the glue like this, using the glue gun. My glue is not much, and anyway, it is just enough to show how I'm mounting it, to make sure that it doesn't, to make sure that my transformer or my bridge will not move inside my signage. The back side, that is the back side of my my signage, is this one here. A lot of electricity connections, a lot of metals, of course, for bulbs, LED bulbs, for the connections of power, and like so. And so now, remember, we had wires, or the jumper wires, connecting the positive sides of our LED bulbs through the resistor, and we had our negative side. All positives which connects through our resistor, this one here, which doesn't have a negative or a positive, but it connects to the positive of the LED bulb, will connect to the positive of my bridge, or the transformer here, and then the negatives will come to the negative and negative side. So the positives of my bulbs, which connects through the resistor here, will come to the positive side, and then the negatives will come to the negative side here. From the negatives from the from my LED bulbs, they will connect here to the transformer. We had just illustrated how the power gets in the positive to the area where we have the positive and negative side connected, and then the other side to the this item here used to step down our power. The same, when we have our chaser here, which is this item here, made by connecting the different resistors together and mounted on this PCB board. Yeah, here, this one, the chaser, which makes the lights to play like this, or to blink. It is mounted the same way like our transformer or our bridge, and then one of the wires which comes from the resistor connects to the positive of the transformer or our bridge, while the other wire from one of the resistors here connects to the negative, to give it power. If you look closely here on this my chaser, which is the one making the light to blink over there, it has one bulb here, LED bulb. This LED bulb, it is used just like a tester, that when you connect our chaser to power, then this bulb will light up to show that our chaser is receiving light. And then once you connect it to the wires like this, and to the group of bulbs that you want to blink, that you want to play, like if you look at my finished sign here, yes. So now, we are at the subtopic or the substrate about mounting the bridge here, which is this one, which we've mounted already, with an example of this one here, the bridge that we created yesterday, or rather the bridge that we created together. And so now, when you have your bridge, which is where the power connects, to your signage, when it is mounted like this, we say that one side where we have the ceramic is where we connect one side of the power, then the other side where we have the negative and the positive poles of our diodes connecting is where we connect the other side of the power. Then look, our resistors here, which connects to positives of our LED or related emitting diodes, will connect to the positive. Will always connect to the positives of the transformer of our, that is of our bridge, and then the negatives will connect to negative. Remember, with our item being like this, there are a lot of there could be one or two negative wires or negative connections which are not connecting anywhere else. So those negatives will connect to the negatives of the transformer, while positives connects to the positive of this our transformer. And then we have our power cable, which connects also to the transformer. We have also our chaser, this one, which is the timer, which is made up of so many capacitors here. We have the chip, we have the PCB board, or the circuit board, and then we have this light here, this light emitting diode bulb here. So now we have our timer connected again to the to the transformer. One of the wires of the timer connects to the positive, while the other one connects to the negative of the timer, just as usual, just like the other bulbs are connected, so that it obtains power. And then you can see from our timer we have this wire here, or the metallic wire here from one of the capacitors, this one here, one pole. This metallic wire here connecting to the capacitor is the one where you connect the bulbs which you would want to play, which you would want to blink, or which contains the timer. It is where you connect one of the wires, or one of the Jabber wires, which connects to the lights which you want to play or which you want to blink. The other wire connects. The other wire is the one which connects to the power. So the wire connecting to the timer, this one here, containing the lights which you would want to play, comes from the negatives of the bulbs, or of the LEDs which you would want to be playing, like this, because I have my wires connected now. I have my timer, I have my transformer or the bridge connected, I have my timer, which is what I'm calling the chaser, connected. Now I want us to see what happens with this our diagram here. And what happens is that you can see, like this one is a sign for a customer who wanted to put it in his business premises, because the customer deals with mobile banking, which has M-Pesa, it has the KCB, it has the Equity, it has the cooperative. Some even will ask you to add something about photocopy here. If in addition to whatever they are doing, there is a photocopy about it, or any other thing that they would want included in their signage. Now, like in this customer wants just M-Pesa, cooperative, KCB, and Equity. in his or in the signage that he wants. So now we have our sign here. It is ready, and now I put it on power, and you can see what we have is this. We have like this. You have to hold it well with caution, otherwise at the back there is a lot of electricity passing through the bulbs and the cables which are connected, so you have to be careful because it is open, not covered. So now our timer has connected these bulbs here which are playing. These are the ones which have been designed initially for to play or to blink. This one here which is blinking, and then these bulbs over here. So now I have my item or my signage. It's lighting well. KCB is lighting well. Equity is lighting well. Actually, it has one of the parts which are playing because of the timer. I have my M-Pesa which is lighting well. My M-Pesa, I designed it to have some white LEDs, red, then green, then coke green, then KCB. I designed it to have my white bulbs. With equity, I wanted it to have red and then some white LED bulbs. And my item is complete here, ready for use. Now, just a little bit. If I come to this side here of my item, you can see it's open. You can see all the circuits, the way it has been made, the way the circuit follows for the bulbs. Everything is well connected and it's playing well. And you can see there is a lot of writing here about mathematics. You have to do all these maths in order to be able to group the bulbs in order, so that you are able to know where to put your resistor. Like you can see, I have a resistor here, I have another one here, I have another one here, another one, and another one. And my circuit here is complete. I mean, for the bulbs, the arrangement for the bulbs is complete, and I have my item ready. If you look at my signage here, it's complete with everything mounted well. But let me just remove this. It was just for sampling. But you can see it's not covered for one. It's very important that you cover it on this side. Remember, it is electricity passing through all these areas you can see here, through this circuit, and you would want it to not to harm anyone, so we need to cover it. You can see also I have some hooks here which is for hanging. When it is ready, you take it to the customer. It is ready, you need to hang it. We have the trunking here which is used to cover the boards, which these ones here, the timber, where which is used to make the borderings. You can see, like initially I had this cable not connected to this one going to power here, so I have connected it here to extend it, and so that it goes to the power. And again, you can see I've used an insulating tape. This one here, it's for electricity insulations, so that I'm able to cover all the areas of the wire or of my any cable that is not insulated. And so I have it insulated like this, and I have my item which is complete, or which is ready now for use. You can see this white substance here, or this material here. It is for the it comes it is there because of the glue gun which I used to put glue. I used the glue gun to put glue over here or on these points, so that I can have my jumper cables. I can have my LED connections well covered, so that they cannot move, because some of them might be loose and you find them moving, and they are held together. You can see now they are held together. You can't see so many wires which are loosely or are hanging loose at the back end of my signage here. And so my signage is complete now. And now I want us to go to the last topic about making this signboard. actually almost the last one, almost the last one. It will form our last subtopic. It's about finishing up. Our last substrate will be about finishing up. Now that you have your item ready, you've tested, it is playing well, it is lighting well, the sticker is okay, yeah, everything is visible, and now you can't leave it like this. So you want to go to the last area about covering this area here, so that we don't have all this. The customer doesn't need to see this back end. Otherwise, it should not also be left like that. Remember, most of them are put outside, whereby there is rain, there is some different weather, people are touching it, and it is about electricity over here, and we don't want people to interfere with it. We want our item to look neat and to look presentable. So that will form our last activity about making up our signage, this one here. And then as we wind up, we'll have a bit of a summary of all the subtopics or substance that we've covered so far. We'll be coming up with these our signages here. Yes. So now, the last subtopic is to have our item neat, well covered, to cover our back end, which is only reserved for technician or for the technicians. Yeah, it is only reserved for the technicians, not to be held by just any other person. And so now, to cover it, in order to look neat and make sure that nobody tampers with the back end of our item, we'll need a board like this, applied like this one, well cut into size. Remember, we have our hacksaw, which is used to shape our plywood, just in case it is big, not able to fit. And now, before we put it, remember, we can't just make it lie on top of these bulbs here. So that's the reason why we have this piece of wood here, which is a 1 inch by 1 inch, which is used to make the border here. We will cut it into you can use this our foot here. You measure the distance that is needed, and then you cut the equal size of the piece of wood here, so that what we have is equal to whatever we want over here. So we will use this wood, we'll nail it round with our hammer, of course, and then we have our nails like this one here, the tab. We will nail it round so that at the end of the day, what we have is this piece of wood going around like this one going around, so that once we place this plywood on top, it will not lie on this our electrical items here, thus maybe destroying it. So we will have our plywood well cut into size, and then we will place it on top of this, on top of our item here. We will use some nails to nail it round, make sure that it is well fastened. And so after fastening it, we will expect it to look like this, something like this. Nobody will access here, nobody will even know what lies over here, even to some extent, so that it is not just left like this, looking like it's just plywood. You can go to an extent of obtaining a sticker, a clear sticker, peel it off, peel the sticker off, yeah, peel the sticker off, and then you can stick it on top of here, clear one, as white as this, so that nobody, not just every other person knows that there is a plywood here. They will just see the white material over here, very white. So at the back it will look neat. Actually, what we will be intending to achieve is something as neat as this signboard here. You can see it is very neat. Actually, very few people will tell that there are so many wiring at the back here, because it has been neatly done. You can see at the borders here we've used the trunking, and the trunking, the work of the trunking is if you can have a look at this, if you just leave it like this, people will be seeing, or it will be seen from these edges here, this hood here, and we don't want it to be left just looking that disorganized. So that's the reason we use a trunking like this one, a longer one, so that we put it like this, round like this. Make sure that you fit it round like this, even at the corners. The other side, you fit the trunking just to have a neat finishing of your work. Nobody will want to just have a signage which looks like an amateur or not very neatly done. So the work of this trunking is to put at these edges here, so that you hide, or you try to prevent this from being seen here. And to fasten it, make sure that the trunking is well put over there. You will use nails to fasten it like this. I've used nails over here to fasten it. I've actually gone ahead to use my glue through the glue gun here, to use the glue to put at the holes which are left, or to hide the ends of the nails over here, and even to make them firm enough not to come out, so that at the end of the day what I have is something as neat as this, not even able to just come out even the trunking, not unless we just force it out. Yeah. So now, after we are through with covering our backside, or the technician area, if I may call it like that, this area here, then our item is ready. Yeah, our item is ready. And now when it is ready for use, you know, you will imagine how the customer now will be able to place it on his or her premises. And to take care of that is the reason why we have these hooks here, this hook and this one here. This one here, we looked at them yesterday. These are my hooks which I use to hang my item. And if I may use this one as a case study, you can see it doesn't have hooks. It is finished but doesn't have hooks, maybe because it was intended to just be placed somewhere, maybe on top of a table like this, or somewhere like this. It was intended to be put somewhere like this, and to be used over there when it is just like that. No, you can just use it over that without hanging it somewhere. And now I'm imagining someone who would want to hang it on a door like this one here, or somewhere at the wall. So it's for that reason we use these hooks, and you just screw it at one side or top side of our item like this. It is like a screw, so you can just screw it in using your hands like that. And this other one, you just screw it in. It is for finishing purpose. And now we are thinking of a scenario whereby now you are taking it to your customer, and your customer would want to just hang it somewhere, maybe on a wall. You can use just a string, or in my case here, I can just use this my jumper wire, because it is just lying over here, and I don't think I'll use it maybe later, or maybe I have enough, then I can just use it to demonstrate what I intend to have at the end of the day. And what I will have is something like this, but of course something neat, so that once now I'm ready to take it to my customer, then the customer maybe will go and hang it like this. Will hang it like this, maybe over a wall, where he or she will be removing it at the end of the day. And what I have after hanging my item, you can see now that it's hanging there comfortably, and the customer will be happy, will not struggle about how or where to place the item. Yeah, so now I have that finished and working. Let me also demonstrate this other one. Let me carefully remove this, and then I can put the two to just work at the same time. I have my two signages ready and working. Yeah, this one working, this one working, playing at different the chaser or my timer is playing at different areas and maybe at different intervals. Of course, they are two different items, not a similar item. And I'm through. I have my items well working. I hope topics were well understood, and any other person can come up with a signage just like this one. Now, I don't want to leave anything to chance. I don't want to leave anything to chance. I know this is a technical, it is a technical class, or a technical experience, which might need a lot of practice. By the way, to come up with something like this, you will not only rely on theory, you will need to put your hands to work. You will need to practice it. You need to practice, you fail, practice again, fail, practice as many times, fail 1, 2, 3 times, but at the end of the day, get the concept, succeed, and get it right. Otherwise, if you assume things, you might one day attempt it and find out that you know nothing. Technical things, technical lessons is about trying. I tried many times, failing 1 or 2 things, but at the end of the day, I'm able to come up with synergies like these ones you can see over here. And now, just before I wind up, because I want us to have a recap of what we've done so far, in our next topic, a different one, we will have a different approach of an LED or light emitting diode signage like this one here. But in this case, we will not be using this type of bulbs or this type of LEDs. We'll be using different LED lights. This one here, looking like this. By the way, this one has positive and has negatives, and it is the one which has been used to make this my signage, which is for a customer who wanted to have a phone repair, screen replacement, software installations for computers, laptop repair, and of course his contacts displayed over here. If I can briefly open this for you to see, I think there is much that needs to be done for it to open. If I can be able to open for you to see from inside, there is a lot of LED bulbs which I have used, and some connections about it which I would want to visit at a different class and at a different day. I demonstrate how to come up with an LED signage like this one without using these bulbs. Maybe one of the things it might fail to have is the timer. Is the timer like the one we were using over here? But if you really need to have it like blinking or playing by using the timer or chaser, there is a ready-made chaser which you can use. We call them snake lights. And the snake lights have a chaser or a timer which you can program, and then you put it around here, just like one I'm making for a customer right away at the workshop. and you have it playing from around here. You can also use the approach of, after finishing making this signage, you make a timer, just a timer. A timer is this one here, or the chaser, the timer. You make a timer like this one, and you use a few of LED lights like these ones here, or like a case whereby these ones were playing, and you put them inside in the inside of this my signage, and you connect well. You do a very well planned connection of power, and what you'll be having at the end of the day is the LED lights, these ones playing from around here or even from inside, because this one you can play or you can have your LED lights from inside, because the material here I've used here, it is a perspex which is translucent. It is a perspex which is translucent, and so when you connect some power to it, you find that the light will come from outside. It will come outside using this translucent, my translucent item here. So you can have your light still playing from inside, and you have your item very presentable, and maybe very few will be able to know the technology you've used around here. That is in a case whereby you don't want to use a ready-made timer lights, which I'm calling the snake lights. Then you can use that approach of using these LED lights here, make a timer, of course use resistors, of course use make a bridge, and then put it from inside here, and you have your item playing well. Yeah. So now I had used this signage a lot of times to experiment or to explain on the topic, and you can see what we have at the end of the day is that we've had our new signage which is playing. I had avoided using it at some point, but I wanted us to assume that it is a new item that we are coming up with, and now it is ready and play well. Yeah, I think we are okay on that, and now at least somebody can come up with a signage by following this our class here. Now I want to do a recap of what we have been doing, a recap or I visit a few items that are very important in coming up with this signage or this signage here, and I just want to make a summary of the lesson, just for a reminder or just for a quick revisit, in case you just want to remind yourself something, or in case you want to know what to use or what to go for, just in case you want to make a signage like this one or this one here. This one I will visit later in a full class at a different date or at a different arrangement, because it's a full class of its own and needs to be tackled differently with this one for just understanding purpose. Yes, and so now here we are, through with our class about making an LED sign, and I would want just to recap or have a summary of the few items which are very important for you to have once you've decided that this is the way and you want to come up with an LED sign. One of the things you will not fail to have is, of course, a toolbox like this. This toolbox contains our drill with the drills over here, some others over here which are small enough. I don't want them to just get lost over here, so these are drill holders. So this toolbox is very important because of the drill, because it is the one we use to make holes for holding our bulbs, our LED bulbs. very important. A side cutter might look ignorable, but very important. It enables you to trim some cables which are unnecessarily hanging, like this one here, for trimming, or you use it to trim even some part of the bulbs which could be very long and not useful, because once it extends it can connect to the other one erroneously and then makes the bulbs to blow out. And one bulb blowing out, or one circuit, a group of bulbs blowing out, might mean that the whole signage is not working, can break down depending on the connection. So it is very important to make sure that every item lies where it is, and for that reason we use this side cutter to just trim them into size. Very important. You can't ignore the glue gun, because we use this glue, this one here, glue stick, and it is hard until you heat it using electricity, just like we demonstrated. So you will not ignore the glue gun. You need to have it for you to be able to work well. Of course, electricity with this extension, of course this piece of wood for making the coverings and borderings, the trunking as well, a pair of scissors, this one, for cutting the sticker into size, for cutting the sticker or trimming your sticker into size, so that it covers or you are able to place it where it is needed. A sticker like this one, you need a scissors, a pair of scissors to just do trimming. Very important. You need the hooks, of course, to hang your item, that is your signage, if that is how it needs to be placed. You need these containers to separate your items, like especially the LED bulbs, because they come in different colors. Like you can see here, I have green. I've reserved this one for green. I have reserved this container for red. I have reserved this for pink, although for now I've put RGB LEDs. Yeah, I have reserved this one for resistors, for the PCB board, and for capacitors. I've reserved this one for white LED bulbs. And by the way, when I talk of bulbs, these are the bulbs, my bulbs here, my LED bulbs here, these ones here. They are the LED bulbs, these ones. And so, because they come in different color, and because once you're making your item, you will need to think and decide which type of bulbs to use at what area. It is for that reason you have them separated like this, because you can't mix them together and then you assume that you will just pick it and place the right one. They almost look alike, not unless you are very sharp and have a very well trained eye to just point out the color, which is almost not very possible. You might need a super glue like this one just to stick your wires once you are not making use of the glue stick. You need a hacksaw to trim your items like that, even trimming the trunking into size. You need the ironing bar, which we use with soldering wire in order to solder or to connect. Make sure that you have very well done connections of your LED bulbs and the jumper cables or jumper wires, and another wire that is connecting to your item, and also for making sure that you solder your the items, the capacitors, the resistors, the diodes that you've connected together when making the bridge, and also when making the chaser or making the tile. Make sure that they are well connected, and every other item lies where it is needed, to avoid to avoid a case of to avoid a case of blowing out. And as you can see, just like I said, just to make a recap of this, if you look at this, my timer, I have this bulb connected to the timer here, playing or blinking. It is blinking in the same way or in the same manner like this. These bulbs here are blinking, so it happens to be put here as a tester to make sure that your timer is receiving power, and that the timer is well done. It is well done, it is receiving power. Of course, it is playing, like you can see, it is playing from over here. So it is put there as a tester, so that even before you connect these your lights here, you can be able to ascertain that it is working, the timer is working well. Yes, that's that said, you can't ignore the fact that you need this cable or this wire. If you look at this my signage here, if you look at this my sign here, or my LED sign here, you can see this cable is very long. And if you have a close look at this, you can see I've just extended it using this cable here. The reason why we make use of this cable is because sometimes a customer will ask for a sign like this one here, and maybe where it is being placed, the source of power is on the other wall there, or at the back there, or inside the shop here, where the signage is supposed to be put outside there. So this cable, you will use it to extend your cable, because the initial power cable is usually very short, almost 1 meter or so. This black one here, 1 meter or even 1.5, or even sometimes you find out that it is maybe just 2 meters. And then where you are supposed to place your item or your signage is somewhere outside, far away from where the source of power is, and you have no other option. Yeah, so you use this cable to extend your power. Anything else, of course, a working table like this one, for stability in working and for placing your items. You need a bag like this one to carry your items, and of course to organize your items together. Yeah, to organize your items together. You can't just finish working and then you leave your items lying on a table like this. You need them organized together. And sometimes you are called upon by a customer to go and repair an item like this, which got a problem while at the site, and at that time you need your tools to go and work for the customer at the site. So you use your bag like this one, to organize the bag, to carry your items to the site, and then go and work from there. And to that extent, I think we are well covered. We've well covered our topic. Presumably, it is understandable. Someone can follow and make an LED sign like this one. Yeah, can even put up a business about it, following the online class, and be able to come up with a signage like this one. And I think it's well done. It's a class well done, and maybe easy to understand. What I would want maybe to request is that you subscribe to the video and to the channel, share to your social media platforms, share with your friends, comment, ask a question, put up a comment, mostly a positive comment, make a contribution to the video. That is the best you can do, just to make some feedback about the video. Subscribing, liking, sharing to your social media platforms, to groups, to friends, commenting. That one will build the video well, and will maybe enlighten more people about how to go about making an LED signage. Thank you so much, and welcome to our next class or next video. at another date when we'll be tackling a different kind of a signage, which is this one here, which uses LED bulbs like this one which are not beads, or they are not bulbs like this one, and it has also negative and positive of it, and then you can come up with a signage like this one. So this is a topic for another day. Yeah, so you're welcome to the next video. You can keep checking, you can keep visiting the channel, subscribing, clicking on the bell sign, so that once a video is uploaded, or any other one educative like this one, then you will be able to notify, and you are able to see the video for your own benefit, and maybe for the benefit of another person who would want to see the video. So subscribe, like, share the video. Thank you.